traitors must go to prison. All traitors must go to prison.
Who is that guy? Welcome.
When the Irishman gets the microphone.
We're here for the board meeting upstairs of Turning Point USA. They're questioning Charlie Kirk. No, welcome. It's Tuesday, 20 December, the year of our Lord 2022. You're in the war room. We're honored to have, we're here at Charlie Kirk's headquarters, Turning Point USA, at the famous studio. Charlie, thank you so much. You. Natalie Winters, the Jack Posobiec, everybody. We're here for AmFest postgame. Post-game analysis. We've got you only for one block. Give us your assessment. I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of CPACs, and CPACs is terrific. But going the old days when Andrew was there, there was something about this. It felt like Lexington and Concord. It felt like thousands and thousands of young people, activists. And and for the War Room posse, they showed up, a little older element. It merged into one, and I got to tell you, people were fired up.
Yeah, I mean, it was an event unlike any other. It was magical. It was the largest multi-day event in the history of the conservative movement. Wow. Now, it would have been the largest event if it wasn't for those darn MAGA rallies, but it was the largest multi-day event if you exclude party conventions, okay, because that's a special thing. But that's a big deal. You know, you got 11,200 people that came through there, Steve, of all ages, and people said their lives were changed, and people said that they're going to run for school board now, state rep, they're going to start holding people accountable, do FOIA requests, and the magic of America Fest really was in the breakouts. The breakout sessions is where I got the most feedback because it was about 200 to 300 people in the room. Yeah. They were able to ask intimate questions. The breakout. Talk about the breakouts. What kind of topics did you cover and who was there covering it? You know, how to spot a woke pastor and why to change your church if they're not preaching the gospel correctly. And or if they're going in that woke direction, how to run for school board, how to run for student body president if you're a student, how to start a Turning Point chapter. Do you notice the word I'm using? How. And that's really the takeaway we receive from so many people is they feel better equipped. So it's not just giving them the technology and giving them the equipment, but also giving them a little bit of a chance to see the people they look up to.
These were working groups, right? We call them breakout sessions, but what you're referring to are actually working groups where you come together, you're giving them the tools. There's a lot of interactivity. There's Q&A, and it's all how to. It's not just, you know, somebody selling you something in there like a seminar.
Tell us about the scale of it. You say about how. I was stunned by not just the scale of the audience, behind the scenes, right? You had all these breakout rooms, you had all that. The scale of this, 11,000 people, probably at any one time, 7,000 or 8,000 actually in space. Another
in the room,
another 4,000 or 5,000 in breakout rooms, or
the exhibitor hall. Right, we have 120 exhibitors that were there. Some for-profit businesses, nonprofits, great organizations there. Media Row itself could have been an event.
It was huge.
I mean, you probably had 500 people just showing up for a War Room just to watch every morning at 8 a.m.
But I went to a Media Row to do. We pre-recorded some stuff for Jack. And I'm walking down, I go, when is this thing in? We get to Jack's thing, and it's only halfway. It goes all the way down.
And then you turn the corner, there's another Media Row.
And so
how many media outlets covered this?
We had well over 85 in person, which is extraordinary. And that doesn't count the online influencers, the ambassadors. So think about all the micro events that we had, too. So we had a pastor's dinner last night, had 195 pastors from across the country. We had an educator summit going on simultaneously, 500 teachers from across the country, government and private school teachers. We had our influencer ambassador summit last night that Jack was there, over 120, I think 120, 150 online social media influencers, combined social media reach of over 40 to 50 million people. Wow. We had our student breakouts, we had our high school breakouts, our college breakouts, we had our school board breakouts. So you look at kind of every vertical that we have to try to make gains in the conservative movement. There was specialized training across the board for that. And then, of course, the big plenary sessions where we had the big guys, Tucker, you, Steve, Jack, you know, Laura Ingraham, the big ones. And so they get charged up, they get the training, and then also, finally, the community. How cool was it, Steve, to hear the stories, to meet the people? Because, Steve, you say always populism, nationalism. That means you got to listen to the people. You got to shake some hands. You got to hear some, stories. And I made a point of that. I spent more time out kind of in the hall more than any other event I've ever done.
I've never seen you out that much. Because I've been coming for a few years now, and you go through and you're always on to this meeting, on to this thing, on to this thing. This time you didn't do that. You were out, you were talking to people, you were doing the show. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, I told the team, I said, hey, these people during the midst of what I think is an inflation recession, were nice enough to buy tickets and travel across the country. I want to spend as much time as I can, with them. And
talk about across the country and across the world. I was blown away. We're sitting there doing War Room, and guys are from Boston, they're from New England,
Tokyo,
they're from Hawaii.
Charlie, how many states? How many states?
All 50 states represented.
All 50.
Yes. Wow.
And how many countries?
At least 10 countries that we know of.
Wow.
And so that, I mean, there could have been more. There was Australia, there was Italy, there was Japan, there was UK.
Well, guys, was New Zealand,
yes.
right? Had guys from China, guys from Hong Kong.
Canada, Mexico, yeah.
Incredible. How long does it take to plan and get this? To actually do this and to do it at the scale that you do it.
Well, first of all, it's amazing. This was all done by 25, 26, and 27-year-olds. Wow. And that, I just want, there was no professional events firm.
Nothing. You didn't subcontract to a
We subcontracted the stage,
right?
Which there's no way you could do that, right? We subcontracted some of the AV, but from the event logistics to booking speakers to all that, it's all in-house. That's unheard of, right?
Huge shout out for the Turning Point team. Now, come on,
Lauren, Sarah, and Michelle. It's world class, right? I mean,
it's seamless.
Thank you. And that comes with a lot of work.
And you even
precision.
you even had Tim Pool do his show for the first time ever.
And he's
live.
such a freak, right? No, I love him, but no, because you got to go to Harper's Ferry, you got to go to the compound. I mean, he was saying
you got to do the whole thing.
Yeah, Kanye says I'll Skype it and says no, you got to show up, right?
No.
Right. He brings his road show to us, but no.
That was seamless. You felt
first time ever.
You felt like you were in the Tim. You felt like you were in the Tim.
First time ever in front of people, live audience. But look, it's a culmination of all of our events. Why are we able to do this? Because we have the chapters, because we have the field program, because we have Turning Point Academy, because we have Teep USA Faith. And so, if the only thing we did at Turning Point was America Fest, we would have made the world a better place. That's one of hundreds of things we do. It is the biggest. Yeah. It is the most impactful. Yeah. But it's just a little bit of a window of the machine that we've been blessed with at Turning Point USA.
So where do we go from here? What is this? This is to summarize where we are and also to fire off the football for 2023.
Yeah,
we got you for a couple of minutes. So walk us through. So how's this fire off the football?
So Turning Point Action is also a big part of what we're doing. And I mean, we're looking at 127. On the 27th of January is the RNC vote. And so, a lot of people say, hey, Charlie, I'm not sure how to think about this. Let's ask our audience. So we asked our audience, the results came today. 98% of people that attended, 98.3% of people that attended say that Ronna Romney should be fired. 98.3%.
And that's Richard Barris polling.
That's Richard Barris, independent polling, right? And so the approval, disapproval, 98% of our attendees disapprove of the RNC. And so 127 is a big day. And, we'll see how people end up voting, but that clubby 168, I think, needs to start listening to voters. I mean,
how important is the apparatus of the RNC in your mind to turn around?
I mean, it's instrumental because according to federal election code, not to bore people with federal regulations or campaign finance, the RNC can do stuff that a super PAC, a C4, and outside groups cannot do. It can coordinate with campaigns, it can share data, it can raise money through committees, it can work with state central committees, it can do voter registration, has standing with city and local governments when it comes to voter complaints. The party itself, like it or not, is able to raise money and share data with your desired candidate. That's a big deal. Super PAC can't do that. A C4 can't do that. And so if you don't have a functioning party, you're not going to win in 2024.
The poll was big because, and it broke down then for Harmeet and Mike and Ronna, but people didn't come in here predisposed. I mean, that kind of was an organic thing. Nobody came and campaigned and said, Romney's terrible.
It wasn't. And no, I mean, by the way, I'm not making this personal about Ronna. Right. I think she's a sweet person. She's always been very kind to me. I'm always very clear about this. I think she should go run for Congress in Michigan. But if you lose, especially a Senate seat in a year that should have been a red wave, you should be fired and a new regime should come in.
Okay, before we lose you, and by the way, the brother Posobiec is going to join Natalie Winters, myself, and Jack in the next segment.
Two Posobics, too much.
No, come on, that's why I had to bring Natalie. I had to have cover. Real quickly, we got 90 seconds. Pretty explosive interview yesterday with Congressman Boebert.
Yeah,
it's caused like a huge cat fight.
Yeah, I love them both. I don't know.
It's still going.
It's still going. It's only getting worse.
I deleted Twitter. I asked a very specific question, not knowing there was any kind of a background between Boebert and MTG, saying Marjorie Taylor Greene, whom we all respect, thinks Kevin McCarthy should be Speaker. That's a fact, right? You don't have to agree with it. And I guess I started some sort of
range war. My eyebrows have become kind of like an internet meme now.
Is it still going on?
It's still going.
It's still picking up momentum.
Yeah,
it's worse than
I went and popped in just now, and everything. All I see on Twitter are my eyebrows.
But I mean, I was accused of asking direct questions. I said, of course. I mean, you're not going to.
It's the Charlie Kirk show.
I said, I want to know, are you a hard no or not? And I just kept on asking because I'm curious, right? Like, where do you stand?
Right.
Gates, to his credit, was like, yeah, I'm a hard no.